I'm genuinely not sure if I can do justice for just how big this thing is. Bloody enormous.
微信没钱，要买个吧，还要70的。
那你结婚了吗？
我没有啊。
你父母给你压力吗？
你这太入乡随俗了。
I think we're here. Although I'm not sure if this is the right spot to buy tickets.
你等会儿还放一下。
问一下，我扫码还是？对，但是我每次失败了，我可以就
看一下，你扫一下，我可以看一下。
凭微信扫码购票。
Okay, I was in the wrong queue. My map lied to me, said that was the entrance. Lady tells me this is not the right spot. That's some other place. 300 meters this way. I swear, those are the least friendly ticket officers ever. They just want you to scan WeChat, and then they, even though they can see a queue of people lining up, they just shut their little ticketing window. It's bizarre. Well, I've pretty much given up on the map, so I'm just going to keep walking back to where we started, because I think there was a ticket office for the Ming tombs back there. So getting my steps in, if nothing else. 哎，这是明孝陵吗？
对，明孝陵。
在哪里买票呢？
这边扫码，微信有吧？
微信有。
有，你扫一扫可以。
就扫这个。
对。就玩一个点嘛，一个点70，明孝陵。
哦，对。明孝就这个是吧？
嗯，对。这个。
哦，这个是姓名还有
是护照。
护照对，护照可以用。
嗯，对。
今天人算是多还是少呢？
今天人少。
少。
嗯。明天会多。
周末吧。
嗯，周末会多。
哎。
明天有雨，下雨。
是吗？
明天下雨，人会少。
哦。哦，我的微信没钱呢，我觉得我的支付宝有钱。
微信那您护照拿出来，叫他在这给你买。
哦。
支付宝这边帮你买，护照拿出来给。
好。
我操！ 也能买个票吗？他微信没钱，要买个吧，还要70的。
清明节人多不多？
多，加班，我们全天加班嘛，人多。
是吗？
这个扫码，微信扫一扫啊。
Oh, did it. Got in with a ticket, a paper ticket again. I think my phone was actually going to work for a change, other than the fact that my WeChat has no money on it. I've only got money on Alipay. It's unfortunate. The one time it was actually going to work. Right. Let's explore the site of some Ming Dynasty tombs. Also, somebody must have worked out that 70 is like the highest price that people are willing to pay without being too expensive, because Yellow Crane Tower was 70, Mulan Mountain was 70, this place 70. It's either free or it's 70. Some speakers playing some ambient music. That fellow ahead of us brought his own music. Now the tomb we're going to visit is the tomb of the Hongwu Emperor, Zhu Yuanzhang, who was the founding emperor of the Ming dynasty, which overthrew the Mongols, who were the previous dynasty. We've visited one of his adversaries' memorials or tombs back in Wuhan. That was Chen Youliang. He was the guy who lost to this guy, Zhu Yuanzhang. Now, the reason his tomb is here in Nanjing is because he made Nanjing his capital city. After a while, though, the Ming emperors, after Zhu Yuanzhang's death, decided to move the capital to Beijing. Nanjing, if I haven't mentioned, basically just means the southern capital. Beijing means the northern capital. Beijing kind of has a better proximity to all those steppe peoples in the north, who were the ones who constantly caused the Han Chinese trouble. So it made sense to kind of have a capital city close to where the trouble is at. That way you can deal with it faster. Remember, there's no internet back in those days. You had to get messages by courier. Now, the first Ming emperor whose tomb we're going to go visit now is a pretty special case because he actually grew up as a peasant. He wasn't a kind of noble family guy. Most of the Chinese emperors came from at least some kind of nobility with education, but not this guy. Well, this is the road to the tomb. You can see elephants over here, some other kind of mythical creatures over there. Is that lions? Not 100% sure, but all kinds of auspicious animals, creatures, guardians for the tomb. Tomb is down this way about 900 meters. Oh, okay, it's a qilin, which is according to the sign, has the features of a tiger, lion, ox, and a dragon. And they're reserved for emperors. Not just anyone could put a qilin at their tomb. There you go. Qilin. Stone statues are 600 years old. Still in pretty good nick. Along with the beasts or mythical creatures, there's generals and wise advisors also marking the road to the tomb. Always say you please, say you thank you. Chinese tombs always have these bridges on the way. There we can see it at the end of the road. There's the layout of the tomb, and that's where we're heading at the end of the road. Said it was built between 1381 and 1413. I read that it took over 100,000 laborers to build this thing. Had a wall around it, had guards, like 5,000 guards guarding the place to prevent robbers. Yeah, building a tomb was a big deal. Unfortunately, through the gate I can see scaffolding. Must be under some kind of maintenance, which won't let it be as picturesque as it might have been otherwise. But I mean, the place has been redone anyway. It was damaged during the Taiping Rebellion, which we talked about just the other day. Quiet. Yeah, the secondary gate is with the tablet is under a bit of maintenance, but that's what it would have looked like inside. The red gate. Sign said once you cross here, you are entering the netherworld. So, welcome to the netherworld. Okay. I'm starting to see why it took so many years and hundreds of thousands of laborers to complete this place. Goodness gracious me, look at the size of that sucker. That is huge. I'm genuinely not sure if I can do justice for just how big this thing is. Like, look at this thing. It's bloody enormous. Massive. Even the stones have got some inscriptions on them, which I can't really read. But yeah, here's the resting place of the founding Ming Dynasty Emperor, the Hongwu Emperor. Now, I did read that apparently when they had his funeral procession, they sent out processions out each of the gates of the city, 13 in total, so people wouldn't know where he was buried. But then if he also had thousands of guards guarding the temple with the wall around it, I would have thought that's pretty hard to keep a secret. But again, that's just me kind of speculating. But yeah, most of the Ming tombs are actually up in Beijing. As I said, they moved the capital there, but this is the original one from the first emperor of the Ming here in Nanjing. So yeah, there will be more tomb under there, but it's not accessible to the public. I heard people asking as well. It's only available in VR form for 80 kwai, which is more expensive than to get into this actual park, so nah. Now, even though my legs and my stomach are urging me to leave, there is apparently one other memorial to see on the way out. Goes back to kind of Three Kingdoms China period. At least the guy does. And here he is, folks. Look at the dates on that. A182 to 252. That's Sun Quan. The main thing I know about this guy, what he's known for, is the battle at Red Cliff, which is one of the biggest battles in Chinese history. And it's actually took place in Hubei province, where we just left. So we might be able to head to Chibi, where the Red Cliff site is at some point. But yeah, of the three big kind of leaders of that Three Kingdoms period, Sun Quan was one of them. He was on the winning side at Red Cliff, so he's a winner, at least for a while. There must have been an explosion in the sale of those tripods and selfie like streaming sticks, because there's heaps of people carrying them around and setting up kind of live streams. Almost took that girl out. Setting up live streams and taking photos of themselves. Yeah, my one only goes about that long on my little stick. That is a big tortoise. A little plaque gave the inscription of the Tablet Tower, but that doesn't mean a heck of a lot to me. But they said it had inscriptions of lots of characters, and that the emperor did it for his fourth son. So, man, if your dad does that for you, you're pretty lucky. Right, we've just left the tomb area through that big old gate. There was a bunch of gates around the whole place. Hello. And yeah, what was I saying before those kids disrupted me? Before those kids greeted me? Yeah, there was apparently a wall around the whole thing to keep the site protected from robbers, but I don't think the entire wall is intact anymore. As I said, the site took a fair bit of damage over the years. But yeah, I think I've walked about 15 kilometers and it is now 12:45. So it's time for me to have lunch, a wee rest before we continue on here in Nanjing. 老板，就一瓶阿萨姆吧。
好，6块。
6块，好。
要冰的吗？
有冰的吗？
有，这冰箱里。
哦，好，要吧。那个夫子庙离这里很近吧？
就前面50米有吧
？50米是吧？
在前面。
好的，谢谢。
嗯，没事。
来一个雪菜肉丝面吧。Alright, I have a about to go to a Confucian Temple, but I need food because I've been running around all morning. So I got myself some noodles with pickles and sliced pork, and my old friend the Asamu Naicha milk tea. I haven't had any of that for a couple of days because I think I've been drinking too much of it, but it was calling me. Right, food, then temple. Yeah, we're gonna head 50 meters down the road, according to that lady at the shop, and head to this Confucian Temple. I get the feeling it's kind of like Hangzhou's version of the Yellow Crane Tower, and that it's a historic building that's been there for ages, would get built, would catch fire, burn down, be rebuilt again, there'd be a war, it'd be destroyed, and then they finally rebuilt it in the 80s, which is very, very eerily similar to what happened with the Yellow Crane Tower. So let's make our way over, see if we can get in, see how much the ticket is, and have a wee look around. These streets definitely have a very kind of old China vibe. That's how you know we're in a touristy area. Okay, the convenience store lady's idea of 50 meters is a little bit different from my idea of 50 meters, but still. Ancient themed streets. And I think kind of overpriced noodles. Those noodles I bought cost 20 in Wuhan, which is a cheaper city. I could get more for that price, probably. But maybe not if I went to a touristy area, I'm not sure. Stop complaining, let's go. There's nobody at the ticket office, so let's see if I can do it on my phone. 这里可以买Fuzimiao的票吗？需要护照是吧？好的。
不是你买什么？你买全票吧？
啊？
你不是全价吗？
全价呀。对。
我以为你说要买学生票。
哦，怎么可能呢？我都40岁了。
付款码。收钱搭到账30元。
好，谢谢。Managed to get a ticket manually. 你好，今天人多吗？还是少？
今天不多，
不多。
哎，要晚上人就多了，
是吧？Well, I managed to get in, as I said, manually. We couldn't get past the phone entering section. It said my number has issues, so common problem, but manually sorted. For some reason the girl thought I wanted a student ticket. No, too old for that. Well, that's the man himself. That's Confucius. Given this is a Confucian temple, makes sense to have his statue front and center. It's got very Buddhist temple vibes though, because it's still got the burning of incense and I don't know, just the feel. Still feels like, you know, all the people making wishes. Same kind of concept. Not as big as the bell at the Yellow Crane Tower. Now this site historically apparently had both the kind of Confucian Temple, as it is kind of represented now, but also an imperial examinations hall, which is where you had to sit your exam to become a civil servant, which was a massive deal in Chinese history and probably still has like influence on China today, in which, you know, exams are used for progression, especially in the civil service. Once you get into the civil service, it's basically seen as kind of like a lifetime gig. You know, you can get a retirement package and stable employment. You don't have to worry about the kind of different pressures that you might get in the corporate world. And the exams were largely based on Confucian teachings and writings, literary style, that kind of thing. Although over time there was some criticism of the reliance on the kind of Confucian examination system, because it didn't include like maths or science. And as time went by, those things were maybe seen as what kind of took China from being, you know, one of the leading countries, empires in the world, to falling behind some of the other countries. This insistence on kind of learning from the past and learning from Confucian teachings rather than focusing on science and technology, economics. In the Confucian system, it was kind of like the gentry at the top, so your educated people, then your peasant farmers, because those are the ones who produced the food, then kind of like your craftsmen who actually made stuff, and then merchants who were basically seen as unnecessary kind of leeches on the rest of society, because they didn't make anything. But often they got pretty rich, so they could still have some influence, but according to that kind of Confucian structure, they were at the bottom of the social order. 这是床吗？哦。
学中文的吗？
我老婆是中国人，所以我还是会一点中文。
那你能看懂吗？这个文字？
轻架子窗。
厉害。
但是我不知道这个是什么意思。
就是床。
就是床。
清朝的。
清朝的床。
对。
好吧，对我来说看起来有点小。
嗯，我也觉得挺小的。
嗯，可能那个时候他们长得没有现在高。
或者有可能是孩子或者老人用的。
是吗？
嗯。
哦。
那你去过故宫吗？
故宫我10几年前去了的，我都不这么记得。
这个床好像没有这么小。
是吗？
对。
哦。你是第一次来这里玩吗？
对。
哦，哪里人呢？
我从北京过来的。
北京过来的。
你是哪里人？
新西兰的。
新西兰。
我怎么觉得你的口音没有那个北京的味道？
对，因为我不是北京的呀。
你是哪里的？
我是北方的。
北方什么地方？
哇，这么专业吗？东北的。
东北什么地方？什么地方？我不一定知道。
黑龙江的。
黑龙江哦，我没去过。
你来多久了？
我以前是住在中国的，但是一直在湖北。
湖北。
湖北。武汉。对。但是这一次就回来看一下别的地方呢，所以我第一次来南京。
你也是第一次过来？
对。
那你能看懂上面的文字吗？差不多。
我的中文的话，
学了多少年？
哎呦，学了好几年了，但是这种有艺术感的或者历史的，我还是有点难。对。
我们也有点难。
是。好吧。那你准备玩几天呢？
我一会儿就走了。
哦。你去了那个中山陵吗？
没去，我们今天过来主要出差。
哦，你是出差的，不是玩的。
然后顺便过来看一看。
哦，对对，可以啊，可以。我今天早上去了的，很多人。
你去哪里了？
中山陵，还有那个明孝陵。
你怎么过去的？地铁？
对。一手的手机就是看那个地图，然后就跟着那个地铁走。
可以。地铁还是很方便的。
对，有地铁就方便。你是干什么的？
我是做办公家具的。
销售。
但是在此之前，我是做英语教育的。
是吗？
对。
哦。那你的英语怎么样？
还好吧，很多年都不说了。
是吧？环境很重要的。
是的，而且英语的话，很久不说，基本上都忘记了。
对。那你觉得南京怎么样？
挺好玩的。
是吗？
对。但是可能我们年纪也比较大了。
你也年纪比较大吗？
我90年的。
你90年的。
33。
这算是年龄比较大的吗？
不是很喜欢走。我以前出去玩的时候，就每天可以走几万步。
哦。我今天已经走了2万多步。
我才走了3000步。
好，你可以多走一走。
国内工作压力太大了，经常加班，然后很少运动。
哦，那你结婚了吗？
没有啊。
你父母给你压力吗？
你这太入乡随俗了。 还好还好，过了30就没有那么多压力。
是吧？我知道，这是中国的传统，就是父母就会说的。
我们现在这一代的女生倒是不是很，基本上单身的很多。
是吧？
对。
对。
男孩子好像很早都结婚，但是我们的话可能还是觉得自己单着会更舒服一些。
哦，对。自由了。
也是，可能中国就是在两性关系的这种压力下，女生会更大一些。那你们中国的房子是在武汉买的吧？
在武汉买的，对。现在我岳父岳母在那边。
哦，多少钱一平？
我们买的便宜，我们是几年买的
？16年以前。
对。
那时候
6000多一个平方，真的很便宜
吗？
现在那个地方降了也是1万多一个平方。
我同事
北京肯定很贵的。
对，北京很贵。我同事16年在武汉买的房子，好像花了1.9万。
那肯定是个比较好一点的地方。我们的那个地方是离市区有点远。
你们武汉的4环。
哦，怎么那么贵呢？
当时武汉限购啊。他赶在了最后一批。就是你不限购的房子能选的很少，而且它那个是带精装修的，就你要还很多的装修的费用，大概有几十万。现在截止到现在，从16年现在他已经还完装修的费用了，1个月还6000多，
是吧？
贷款。
那你是跟你父母在一起吗？还是
没有，自己一个人在北京。
他们在老家？
啊，对呀。
那你是买了房子还是租房子？
租房子啊。
贵吗？
还好。
1个月？
几千块。
Well, folks, that was the Confucian Temple here in Nanjing. It was alright. That one feels like a bit of a tourist trap, to be honest. Selling a lot of stuff and a lot of little eateries and other spots around it. So, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I asked the price of those, by the way, for that lady I was talking to earlier, and she said it's 60 kwai. She took one yesterday, so 60 kwai. I can buy a nice dinner for that. People here seem less fussed about sitting on the ground. I guess because it's ancient. Makes it different.